So to Donnington for round 4, the traditional hour-long race with driver changes.
Well, this is going to be different. 30 cars on their way to the rolling start on Donnington's superb 2.5-mile lap. With an hour to go, compulsory driver changes, and Rob Gravett, winner of round 1, in his first pole position in the red and white Cartel Sierra, alongside Dave Brodie, the Thruxton winner. Into the pit lane goes the pace car, and round 4 is go. And Rob Gravett fairly leaps into the lead, straight off into Redgate. Andy Rouse is going through on the inside of Dave Brodie to take second position. Then it's Guy Edwards, Bristow, David Sears, Jerry Marnie, and now we're in car with Guy Edwards in 4th place. Immediately ahead of us, it's Andy Rouse. In front of him, Dave Brodie, and leading is Rob Gravett going down into the old hairpin, and here he is. Right behind him, Brodie and Rouse together. Guy Edwards, now the climb up to McLean's. 4th gear, building up to 110 miles an hour. Look for Gravett, there he is out front. Brodie behind him, Rouse immediately in front of us. Out of McLean's at about 100 miles an hour, and there's 7 cars together. Gravett, Brodie, Rouse, Edwards, Bristow, Sears, and Jerry Marnie in 7th place. 3rd gear. Down the straight at 125 miles an hour. Gravett leading. He's got a good lead now over Dave Brodie. Rouse is dropping back. Edwards is catching the 3rd position man, Andy Rouse. And David Sears is going through at the chicane and taking 5th position from Lawrence Bristow. Out of the chicane, down to Redgate again. And look at the lead that Gravett's got. Brodie 2nd, Rouse and Edwards absolutely together, and Sears and Bristow there absolutely together, followed by Jerry Marnie in 7th place. Now, in car with Bristow, 6th position. And Andy Rouse on the left is slowing. Edwards and Sears past him, and now Bristow's past him up into 5th position. Andy Rouse down to 6th, and at the old hairpin there are 5 Sierras. Edwards, Sears, Bristow, Rouse, Marnie, and Steve Soper here in the BMW M3 is leading Class B with a damaged wing. Let's see how it happened. On the left is Mike Smith and Carl Jones. Smith goes up to 9th, past Carl Jones. Dave Pinkney passes us on the left at 125 miles an hour. Down to the chicane, Pinkney past Jones. Soper takes Jones, and there's contact between Pinkney and Smith, and Soper. Soper has hit Pinkney's car. And he's trying to tell us, waving his hand. He's chasing Mike Smith now. But back in the race at the chicane, Andy Rouse there. Number 1 is in trouble. The others are getting away, but Rouse is coming into the pit lane. And at Redgate, Gerrit Van Cowen and Mike Smith are battling for 9th position. Here they are, Van Cowen, number 25, Mike Smith, number 20. And there's contact, there's a nudge, and off goes Van Cowen into the sand trap. But he's kept the Sierra rolling. That's really difficult, and he gets a big round of applause from the crowd. He deserves it. Well done, Gerrit. Now, in the pits, Andy Rouse, the winner of round 2. Looks like an electrical problem. They're examining the plugs, and he doesn't look at all happy. But he gets away, sounding a bit rough. And now we're in car with Steve Soper. The right front wing is peeled right back, and he's showing the pits with his hand as he goes past. And there's Dave Lapworth asking Charles Reynolds if he knows what's wrong. But now, let's have a look at it from Frank Sytner's point of view, following Soper. There's Soper in the white car, and he hits Dave Pinkney's car, peels back the right wing, and now he's got a major problem. Is it going to affect the aerodynamics of his car? It looks all right on the left, but it's all wrong on the right. And number 70, Phil Dowsett, is leading Class D. And there in the red and white Sierra, number 21 is race leader Rob Gravett. Look for Dave Brodie now in the white Sierra behind him. There he is. Guy Edwards in 3rd position. Right behind him is Sears in the blue car. And Lawrence Bristow is 5th, his teammate. And there is the leader, 21, Rob Gravett. Into the chicane. He's starting to lap people now. Dave Brodie holding a strong 2nd position. And now we are in car with Jerry Marnie, 6th position, down the straight at 125 miles an hour. And that is steam. That is steam coming up from under the bonnet into the chicane. He nearly goes off. He's lost traction on the front wheels. There's a big problem there for Jerry Marnie. And how lucky for him. He comes straight into the pits. Now, let's see if we can sort out what the problem is. That's what the mechanics have got to do. Up will come the bonnet. There is steam coming out of everywhere, including the fascia vents. And I would imagine a hose has gone.
For all this water out, it's not boiled.
Yes, it had. And now, back in the race, Rob Gravett leading. Brodie, there's Guy Edwards in 3rd position, Sears and Bristow. Don't drink and drive, that's good advice. And now in car with Lawrence Bristow. And ahead of us, Bristow's teammate, David Sears, son of the ex-British saloon champion, Jack Sears. This is the fastest part of the course, down the long straight, into the chicane, and Sears is getting it sideways. Sears goes off. Over the curbing, over the grass. Bristow goes through up into 4th position. Well, there's a bit of bad luck for Sears. He's lost the place. Can he regain it? And Andy Rouse is back in the pits. A worried-looking Win Percy, his co-driver, alongside him. And Mike Smith, look for number 20, is now 7th. There he is. He's Rob Gravett's teammate, so his team are 1st and 7th. Down to the old hairpin, and Dave Brodie has got a problem. That is the man who was in 2nd position, number 19, Dave Brodie. You can see what the problem is. Punctured left rear tyre. Mike Smith and Sean Walker have passed him. There's Newman passed. And here is Mike Newman chasing Walker and Smith. Number 3, Mike Newman. And that's Louise Aitken Walker in the Vauxhall Astra. She's about to be lapped by Mike Smith. He tucks in tight, he's onto the grass. He's going off the course. Mike Smith plunging across the infield at Donnington. And Tom Wheatcroft doesn't like his grass cut up. Mike is going to be in trouble when he gets away. But he's rejoining the course. Back onto the tarmac. Mike Smith well down now. Back he goes. And that is Mike Wiles, Smith's co-driver, talking to Jeff Allam, who's sharing with race leader Rob Gravett, and that's Gravett's pit signal. Rob Gravett leads, Guy Edwards 2nd, Bristow 3rd, Sears 4th, Walker 5th, and Steve Soper is leading Class B in 8th position. And there is the BMW M3. Steve Soper, last year he drove for the German Eggenberger team in the Sierra. He's got smoke pouring from the right front of the car where the wing is obviously damaging the tyre. He's driven in Escorts, Ibs, Minis, Fiestas, Metros, Rovers, Fords, and now the BMW. Coming down to the chicane at 70 miles an hour. Right, left. Change up, down towards Redgate. Approaching at 125 miles an hour. Chasing the Sierra ahead, which is Dave Pinkney in 7th position. And he's going to catch him soon, and look at that wing! Now, up to the Craner curves at 120 miles an hour, dropping downhill and accelerating. Up to the old hairpin, down into 3rd gear, and he's going to take Pinkney before he gets there, and he does so. So, Steve Soper is up into 7th position. Out of the hairpin, now climbing towards McLean's, past John Morris's VW Golf, and now he's after Mike Newman's Sierra, which is in 6th position. Out of McLean's, onto Coppice at 100 miles an hour, and that wing still flapping alongside the door on the right-hand side. And Steve Soper not a bit ruffled. And meantime, race leader Rob Gravett is catching the 2 BMWs in front of him. That's Godfrey Hall and Ian Forrest and John Llewellyn. There is Godfrey Hall, number 43. Forrest behind him in the white BMW. There's Llewellyn. And Gravett is behind Llewellyn. Coming up to pass him now. There's Guy Edwards. There is Bristow, 3.5 seconds between the first 3. And Sears is in 4th place. Down the straight. And Forrest in the white BMW is all over Hall's car. Looking to the right, looking to the left as they come down to the chicane to see a way through, but there isn't one. And Rob Gravett coming up fast behind them. Down to Redgate. This is Rob Gravett's opportunity to close the gap and lap the two BMWs and put them between him and the second and third men. And that's Phil Dowsing coming out of the pits in the Toyota Corolla, down to Craner. Gravett is lapping Forrest. And Forrest nearly loses it. Locks up the right front, smoke pouring from the tyre. Godfrey Hall is pulling away. In car now with Guy Edwards, second place ahead. Rob Gravett is being held up by the BMWs. He's passed Forrest. Now Gravett's got to try and take Hall, and Edwards has got to try and get past Forrest. That's the white car in front. And Gravett is past Hall. Edwards is past Forrest. And Bristow is right behind Guy Edwards. What a terrific scrap for the first three places. In car with Bristow in third position, past Forrest. Edwards is past Hall. And Van Cowen savages Mike Smith. Now that is what I would call tit for tat. Off goes Mike Smith, stationary, losing places. He's got to get the Sierra going again. And number 33 is Frank Sytner. The chicane, Gravett, Edwards, Bristow, all together. Now, is anything going to happen on the run down to Redgate? Let's have a look. There's Gravett, Edwards, Bristow. 1.7 seconds covers the first three on lap 21. On to Craner. Now, this race could be won on the pit stops. It's that close at the front. Gravett, Edwards, Bristow, first, second, third, and there, number 7, David Sears is about to lap the two BMWs, fourth position, up to McLean's. Gravett still leads, number 10, Guy Edwards there in second place, and Gravett has just put up the fastest lap so far, 1 minute 44.9, 94.1 miles an hour. And there is Mike Newman in sixth position. But not anymore, not anymore. As I said, a gigantic explosion that looks like engine, and Mike Newman is definitely out of the race. And into the pits comes Mike Smith to change over with Mike Wiles, his co-driver. Now this is critical. If they're slow here, they'll lose time and they'll lose places, and they've still got to do up the harness. Mike Smith helping Wiles. And Mike has certainly had an eventful race.
One spin because the Astra moved offline on me when I was lapping it, and the other spin I'm going to talk to Mr. Van Cowen about down here at Redgate. I took him on the outside and he just bashed me in the back ring and knocked me off.
Oh dear, that sounds a heavy number, but meantime, here is Steve Soper leading the B class, 6th overall. It's a left-hand drive car. He's going to change over with James Weaver. And meantime, they're working on changing the tyres and taping up that damaged front wing. Out goes James Weaver. Driver change in the BMW. And at the chicane, Gravett is still out there, leading. There is Edwards in second position and Bristow behind him third. Sears in the second Blue Sierra, fourth. And into the pits comes Bristow. Now he's going to change over with Tiffany Dell in the orange helmet. Meantime, Sears has gone up into third position and there is no tyre change, you will note, on the Bristow car. Tiffany Dell, ex-Grand Prix driver, into the Sierra, out of the pit lane, into the race. And that was a really slick pit stop. Excellent work. Tiffany Dell joins the track, back onto the circuit now. And Lawrence Bristow walks back to the pit. A job well done. And that's Tim Harvey waiting to relieve Sears. And Jeff Allam is ready there somewhere to take over from Rob Gravett. There he is. That's Jeff Allam. Hasn't driven for a while. And here's Rob Gravett. What a great drive. He's coming up to lap John Cleland, who's leading Class C in the Vauxhall Astra and is the overall championship leader. And past him he goes. Rob Gravett got a tremendous power advantage, and we're in car with Guy Edwards in second place. There's Cleland ahead, but you remember Rob Gravett has just lapped, so Gravett is ahead of Cleland. And Edwards will want to get past Cleland immediately after the chicane and before Redgate. There's Edwards. And Gravett has stopped short of his pit. He's come in, he's stopped short. And Edwards is in. Edwards is in the background. That should gain him a lot of time. And now Sears is in for Harvey to take over, for Tim Harvey in the yellow helmet to take over. Gravett is helping Allen with the belts. Very important. They've got to get properly tightened up. And out goes Tim Harvey. And that is Jeff Allen. He has taken over from Rob Gravett. And then it's Wyn Percy in place of Guy Edwards, and there is Tiffany Dell through in the lead as Harvey comes out of the pits in second place. Allen comes out in third place, and immediately behind him, Wyn Percy is fourth. So Tiffany Dell is looking good. In car with Wyn Percy, fourth position, Jeff Allen ahead, Craner Curves. And from the Craner Curves to the old hairpin. And Percy is catching Allen, no doubt about it. Damon Hill is right behind Percy. That is number 5, and he has taken over from Sean Walker, and he's in 5th position. In car with Percy, 4th place. Allen ahead. Damon Hill is right behind. You can't see him, but Wyn Percy can, and there is Hill. Up to McLean's. And Percy's losing it. No, he's not. Masterly recovery, but he's drifted out wide. He's lost time, and Damon Hill goes through. Damon Hill through into 4th position. Percy attacks. He's got the momentum. He's past Damon Hill. No, Hill is still ahead as they come down to the chicane. And Hill tucks in on the apex, maintains his place. 4th place. Wyn Percy, number 10, in 5th position. Down to Redgate. Jeff Allen, number 21, is in 3rd place. That is Damon Hill, and number 10 there is Wyn Percy in 5th position. So, Hill is still in 4th place, and that is Tiffany Dell leading the race at the old hairpin. Lap 30, in car with Wyn Percy, 5th place, and he's losing it. He spins right round. Wyn Percy spins to a standstill, and that has really cost him. But he gets away well. Into the pits, James Weaver. He's going to lose the B-class lead. And he says the car is jammed in 6th gear. Steve Soper's not happy. He built up the lead. And now James Weaver is saying, push me, I'm in 6th gear. I've got to get away from standstill. And he gets away in 9th position, down from 6th. 33 is leading the B-class. He is in 6th position. 2 BMWs ahead. Jerry Marshall is in one of them. This is the ProDrive Works car that we're riding with. Up to the VW in front. Right into it, left out of it. He gets a signal to pass on the left, and he passes on the left. Passes on the left, and now ahead, the Class D leader, Phil Dowsett's Toyota, disappears backwards. And at McLean's, the leaders are slicing through the field. Liddell leading, Harvey and Allen together, there they are. And Allen, number 21, is starting to attack Tim Harvey. He's got on the inside of him. Harvey goes onto the grass, regains the circuit. And Allen is coming along the outside of the chicane. Harvey holds the inside line. Allen nearly hits him, keeps clear. There's Harvey, the blue car, pulling out and passing Mike Wilds. And now Allen passes Mike Wilds. Excellent driving through the field. And Damon Hill goes through in the black and white Sierra. Number 20, Mike Wilds, is dropping back. In car now with Win Percy in 5th position, past Crudgington. Catching Mike Wilds, and he spins! Mike Wilds spins! Sparks underneath, something jammed underneath the chassis. Now, Coppice corner, Harvey. Alum, number 21, Damon Hill in 4th position, out of Coppice. And Alum is trying to pass, and he's passing Harvey. Alum going up into 2nd position, and Mike Wilds there is out of the race. Now, let's see what caused it. We're with Win Percy. There is Mike Wilds ahead. The car does a complete spin, and obviously something jammed, fouled under the car and made him spin. And at Starkey's, Damon Hill is up into 3rd position. Number 7, Harvey, is down to 4th. Percy, number 10, is in 5th position. Damon Hill's driving a magnificent race. And this is the first touring car race he's driven in for a long time. In car with Win Percy. Harvey ahead. Hill ahead of him in 3rd position. Down the straight. Harvey passes Hill up into 3rd place. Tremendously close racing. Now the chicane. So Harvey is 3rd, Hill is 4th, Percy, we're with him, is 5th. And Damon Hill hits Harvey as they go out of the chicane. Percy is past Hill up into 4th position. And that is Tim Harvey ahead and outspins the O'Brien Donovan Sierra. Well, all action at Donnington. Fortunately, all clear there, and now Win Percy is really going for 3rd position. Number 10, Win Percy, pushing Tim Harvey. Number 7, very hard indeed. Out of McLean's, out of Coppice, in car with Percy, the ex-Jaguar works driver, multiple British champion. Ahead is Harvey, down to the chicane. The order is Needell Bristow car leading, Alum Gravett 2nd, Harvey and Sears 3rd, and Percy and Edwards, there it is, in 4th position. Redgate. Tim Harvey, the sports car champion, is really having a hard time with Percy big in his mirrors. They're coming up to lap Pierre Dieudonne, the Belgian driver in the Fina Sierra, down to the Craner curves. Harvey absolutely on the edge. Win Percy's going through. Win Percy goes through and takes that 3rd position. Beautiful bit of driving. Now up to McLean's, and Percy is pulling away. He's got the momentum. Terrific drive. Number 7, Tim Harvey, back in 4th position. Well, never mind, Tim. Your team car is in the lead, and there it is. Last lap, Tiff Needell is coming in to win with Lawrence Bristow, who is there in the pits waiting for Tiff to come home. Into the chicane. A really fine drive by Tiff Needell, one of Britain's best drivers, who's never really had the breaks his great talent deserves. And just as well-deserved a shared win for Lawrence Bristow, his first in the SO British Touring Car Championship, and I'm sure not his last, as Tiff triumphantly goes round his run-down lap.
Excellent race, which wasn't quite over because Guy Edwards and Win Percy were disqualified from that 3rd place, which moved Tim Harvey and David Sears into 3rd and allowed Frank Sytner and Will Hoy into the top 6. Edwards handing over to Percy instead of the nominated 2nd driver Johnny Dumfries was deemed to be illegal. For the 3rd time this season, John Cleland won Class C, and the 16-valve Astras were once again dominant in this class. But initially for Cleland, he was put under a surprising amount of pressure from the Volkswagen of Barry Williams, partnering John Morris. But Cleland, who was partnered with Ian Flux, wouldn't be looking nervously in his mirror for much longer. The Golf fell by the wayside, and Cleland was on his way to another class win, which reinforced his position as championship leader. And Louise Aitken-Walker's 2nd position behind him reinforced Vauxhall's stranglehold on Class C. Phil Dowsett was once again successful in Class D, that despite a poor pit stop with a lot of time being lost when a tyre change went wrong. It was Dowsett himself taking over for this 2nd stint from Mark Goddard, and Dowsett was left with a full 45 seconds to make up on Tony Crudgington. He was gaining rapidly when Crudgington went out with a puncture. Dowsett well placed in the championship, but with a problem.
Problem is, we're out of finance. We won't be at Thruxton unless something comes forward. We've got to find some money now to continue. There's a lot of people pulling for us, but we need more finance now to carry on.
The big budgets are all in Class A, and with Class A victory going to 4 different drivers in the first 4 races, it's left to John Cleland and the consistent 16-valve Vauxhall Astra to take a 6-point lead in the championship. A view that betrays the airfield origins of the 2.3-mile Thruxton circuit, home of the British Automobile Racing Club. For the SO British Touring Car Championship, 4 rounds, 4 winners, but not the dominance of last year's calibre Sierras. Guy Edwards has crashed in practice. He's out of the race. Bad luck continues for Andy Rouse's team.
We had quite a bad race at Donnington for a variety of reasons, and we figured that was going to be the lowest point. And from here onwards, our luck was going to go up, you know. But practice has gone okay for my car, you know, on the front row, in with a good chance. So hopefully we can do the business today, but it's unfortunate the guy's not going to be there to help me.
Surprise winner of the last Thruxton round, Dave Brodie, a driver without the big budget and big support of his rivals. A fact he's far from reluctant to emphasise.
Well, these turkeys, they're going to have to start get up early in the morning if they want to take me and my team on, right? They turn up with their big transporters and their good-looking motorhomes. They prance around the paddock all day long in their overalls, right? But when it comes to get the business done, they're a bunch of wallies apart from Andy.
Brodie's much improved performance had led to protests from other teams that he was running on illegal fuel. He claims his advantage is not octane, but experience.
26 years of driving saloon cars, right? There's only one person in this paddock that's ever been in front of me, that's Andy Rouse. The rest of them are a bunch of Group N drivers, right? And why should they be in front of me? They never did before. Why should they do it now? I mean, Guy was had more spins and rock around the clock. Frank Sytner's had more rolls than Joe's Chilk Corner Cafe, right? And what sort of an example is that to set the public? I think it's diabolical. I've never seen driving, 26 years driving saloon cars, I've never seen such pitiful, ridiculous driving like it in my life. It's no good to us doing anything other than winning. I don't mind a close second or a close third, but we come here to win. That's our business.
So things more than a little fired up for this 5th round of the championship, and Dave Brodie is true to his word, having claimed pole position from the driver he admires. In fact, having qualified almost a second faster than Andy Rouse. Second row, Rob Gravett, winner of the opening round, and Tim Harvey in the Labatt Sierra. Guy Edwards had qualified on the 3rd row but had no chance of making the race after his practice crash, but Mike Newman, he qualified well. Carl Jones and Graham Good make up the 4th row. Rows 5 and 6, and behind them, James Weaver in the BMW M3 had qualified just ahead of his Class B rival Frank Sytner. John Cleland, the leading qualifier from Class C, Phil Dowsett in Class D. Round 5 of the SO British Touring Car Championship. Once again, we hear from Murray Walker.
As Dave Brodie in the white Sierra and Andy Rouse on the right follow the pace car round for the rolling start. It's really hot at Thruxton. 17 laps at over 100 miles an hour. They're going to be tough on the tyres. Brodie won last time and Rouse the time before, but no one's won twice this year, as off they go. Round 5 is go, and it's Andy Rouse leading. Brodie going through though. Brodie going through on the inside at the right-hander at Allard. Rouse hits the grass and hits Brodie. But Brodie weaving is really putting the power down. Into the right-hander at Campbell, the left-hander at Cobb. Now up to Seagrave. Brodie, Rouse, Gravett and Harvey. And now we're in car with Frank Sytner in the BMW. David Pinkney goes off. David Pinkney in the Ford Sierra Cosworth goes off. Comes from Harpenden, and he's really got a struggle on his hands now. He's got to get back into the race. Meantime, up at the front, there are 6 Sierra Cosworths. Dave Brodie, Rouse, Gravett, Harvey, Jones and Mike Newman. And the winners of the first 3 rounds are 1st, 2nd and 3rd. And Rob Gravett in the red and white Sierra is challenging Andy Rouse for 2nd place. Closing right up on him. A long drag down to the chicane at over 150 miles an hour. Brodie in front, Rouse closes up into the chicane. It's Brodie, then Rouse, Gravett, Harvey, Jones, Newman, absolutely together. Over the line. And look for Carl Jones there with the yellow headlamps. It's an amazing drive. In this morning's qualifying, he was harpooned by Guy Edwards, and he's had to rebuild the car. There he is. Up to the complex. Brodie leading by 1.5 seconds. Gravett is challenging Rouse for second place. Harvey, then Jones, Newman, and Jerry Marnie in the White Sierra in 7th place. Now up to Seagrave, and Gravett is attacking again. Village, and Gravett is passing Rouse up into second place. Gravett goes through, Rouse goes down to 3rd position, and there is Gravett ahead of Andy Rouse. Now, is he going to pull away? The cartel car has got terrific speed, but Rouse is fighting back. He's closing up on the rear wheel of Gravett for Sierra Cosworth. He's responding down to the chicane. Brodie leads, Gravett second, Rouse third, and Jones and Newman, look, they are ahead of Harvey. End of the lap. Over the line. And Brodie leads, Gravett second, Rouse third, then it's Jones, Newman, Harvey. And the dust is kicked up. Now we're in car with Jerry Marnie. Harvey ahead in 6th position. Down through the box into 2nd gear for Campbell Corner. And now Cobb, the left-hander. Out of Cobb, the leaders go through. And there is Graham Good and Lawrence Bristow, the Donnington winner, with Mike Smith right behind him, and Mike Smith is going through. Smith goes through to take 9th position from Lawrence Bristow. And here is Bristow. Mike Smith on the right. Nice one, Mike. He's through and up a place. So Mike Smith on his way, chasing his teammate Rob Gravett, and Ian Forrest's BMW M3 is out of the race onto the grass. Crudgington and Dowsett coming down together towards the chicane, and Dowsett is starting to challenge. He's going to try and take, yes, here we are, in car with Dowsett. He's going through on the inside. He goes through on the inside. He takes Crudgington. That is Brodie coming up behind both of them. And behind Brodie, there is Gravett. Over the line now. Brodie takes both of them. And now it's Rob Gravett's turn. Up to Campbell, the right-hander, after they have cleared the left sweep that they're into now. Brodie approaches Campbell. Dowsett and Crudgington behind him, and Rob Gravett is about to take them both. But Crudgington is right up alongside Dowsett. He's going to take the lead, and Gravett is going to take them both right on the apex, and they hit each other. Dowsett, oh my goodness! A full 360-degree spin, the wheel is off, the grass has caught fire. But Rob Gravett looks at Dowsett out, up onto the bank. Gravett is out of the car. Miraculously, they are both perfectly okay as the fire marshals slip on the grass. They're going to have to jump down onto the bank to set about the fire. They've got it out already. Well done indeed. That's a very nasty accident. But amazingly, Phil Dowsett looks perfectly all right. So now let's have a look at it from his point of view again. There is Dave Brodie in front. We're turning into the right-hander, and there is Gravett. Slam bang into the tyre wall, and Dowsett does the same thing. Thank heavens for that protection. And now Crudgington leads Class D. Rouse is right up behind him, number 1, second in the race. And then it's Harvey and Newman really close to each other, and this is Mike Smith on the right trying to lap Lawrence Bristow. And they've touched each other at the chicane, and Bristow is off, nearly hits the pit lane Armco. Miraculous recovery. And there on the left is Mike Smith. Away he goes. And Mike Smith has got the momentum. He's pulling away. But Lawrence Bristow may have been lapped, but he isn't giving in. And watch that turbo gauge needle, the big white one. He's definitely reeling Mike Smith in again. And that is the BARC rescue unit. Now, the British Automobile Racing Club runs Thruxton, and everything you need for a rescue is in that vehicle. Medical equipment, cutters, resuscitation gear, and they're deliberately leaving the vehicle there to protect them while they rush up to see if Gravett's okay. Well, he is okay. He's out of the car, actually. And there he is. Well, he must have a very sore neck. Now, let's have a replay. On the left is Crudgington, then it's Dowsett, on the right is Gravett. Gravett turns in, there is contact, straight onto the grass, into the tyre wall. Dowsett does the same thing, 360-degree spin from Rob Gravett. The wheel is off, the back is up, And the grass catches fire. That could have been very, very nasty indeed. And Dave Brodie is slowing. There he is. And that is Andy Rouse going through. He's gone from third to first. And Tim Harvey is really close to him. There is Rouse, and there is Harvey. Now, I wonder what's wrong with Brodie. There's the answer. Look at the left rear wheel. There is no tyre there. He's driving on the rim. Dave Brodie trying to get back. Now, there is Rouse leading. Harvey in second place, right behind him. Mike Newman in third position, number 3. And Carl Jones goes past Brodie up into fourth position. What a fantastic development as Dave Brodie rattles into the pit lane on his rear rim. Lap 14, there's 3 laps to go after this, and Rouse and Harvey with their headlights blazing to warn people that they're coming through. Can Tim Harvey catch and pass Andy Rouse? There is Rouse, there is Harvey. It's getting closer and closer all the time. That is Dave Brodie's wheel. Look at it. Almost finished now. Just tighten up the nut and Dave Brodie can get away, but he's really out of the running altogether. And a Goodwood on the way to Village Corner at 130 miles an hour. Past the last of the tail-enders goes Tim Harvey, and now on the fastest part of the course, he can attack Andy Rouse and go for the lead. Round Brooklands, the left-hander, down to the chicane, and at the chicane. There is less than a second between the first and second places. Andy Rouse and Tim Harvey. Much less than a second now. Out of the chicane, up towards Allard. Rouse goes over the line. Harvey goes, and the checkered flag is out. They're stopping the race. Now that must be because of the accident further ahead. They're all slowing down. So lucky for Andy Rouse. He wins, the first man to win twice this season. Tim Harvey second, just as he looked likely to win, and Mike Newman third. And no wonder they stopped it. That's a real fire hazard. So overall victory for Andy Rouse with Tim Harvey in second place, Mike Newman third, Carl Jones in fourth position, Mike Smith fifth, and Sean Walker sixth after a really exciting race.
And a race that had a finish that came as a surprise to many and a relief to Andy Rouse. Luck had been on his side at last.
The race shortened. Yeah, Gravett had a bad one out.
Yeah, I know, yes. Well, that wasn't bad, was it?
The luck has changed.
I think so, yeah, for the better, fortunately. Well, that was hard going.
Was the checkered flag a complete surprise? What were things like down at the complex?
Well, the accident occurred about 7 laps before the end, and I thought the situation had been stabilised, but apparently, talking to the clerk of the course, there was fuel spilling out of one of the cars and running across the track, and that's what prompted the decision. But I thought things were stabilised, so I was watching the laps to go sign and planning the rest of the race, but there you are.
So you can't feel aggrieved at the decision, but unlucky nevertheless?
No, on safety grounds it was the right thing to do, but I'm sure my turn will come.
Rob Gravett was to bounce back from that near disaster at Thruxton to take victory in the next round on the short circuit at Silverstone. Tim Harvey and Andy Rouse trailing in just a second and a half behind. And this was the round where John Cleland suffered a blow to his overall championship hopes after losing a wheel. The championship, after all its dramas, was settling into a mid-season pattern. Sytner agreed to give his support to Weaver's championship challenge, and in the Silverstone Grand Prix round, an emphatic victory for Andy Rouse. The really close racing in this round was back down the field.
But who is going to be 10th? At Stowe it's Mike Smith, or is it because Jerry Marnie's going through? It's Marnie 10th at the moment. Smith on the right. In car with Marnie. Smith is gaining. Smith goes through. Club corner now. And Smith is ahead. It's Smith in the red-white car, 10th. Marnie behind him in 11th position. Coming up to Abbey for the last time, and Marnie is going for it. He can come out of Smith's slipstream. He's doing it. Down through the gearbox. Marnie ahead. Smith coming through to take him on the outside. He's going to go very wide indeed. Marnie's got the inside line. He hits Smith. Smith shakes his fist. But Mike Smith takes that 10th position, no doubt about it, into the chicane, out of the chicane. Mike Smith in 10th position. And now let's have a look at it again from Jerry Marnie's point of view. Racing up to bridge with Mike Smith on the right at 145 miles an hour. He looks right. Where is he? He looks left and he's there. Mike Smith on the left. Bang! He hits him. But overall, a superb win for Andy Rouse, with Rob Gravett second place, consolidating his class lead in the championship. And a super comeback drive for Guy Edwards, ahead of teammates Tim Harvey and Lawrence Bristow, with at last a points finish for Graham Good.